Imagine this moment with me. You've experienced it before, haven't you? That slow buildup of tension inside you. A little frustration here, a bit of disappointment there, and somewhere along the way, you start to notice that you're feeling more irritable, more on edge. You tell yourself, it's nothing, I'll just push through. But deep down, you know that feeling isn't going away. It's only growing. It's like a time bomb waiting to explode. And the question is, how long can you ignore it before it bursts? Now imagine this. Your emotions are exactly like that ticking time bomb. The anger, the sadness, the frustration that you push aside thinking they'll go away are only building pressure. And one day, they'll explode. It might happen in the heat of an argument or during a quiet moment when you least expect it. But when it happens, it's like everything comes crashing down at once. What if I told you that suppressed emotions don't disappear? They accumulate and they're waiting for the right moment to be released, often in a way that's explosive and uncontrollable. Stay with me as we explore why unprocessed emotions are a ticking time bomb inside of you and how you can begin to diffuse it before it blows. Every day we carry emotions with us. Some of them are small, like irritation over a minor inconvenience or frustration with a colleague. Others are heavier, like grief from a lost loved one or unresolved anger from past conflicts. We experience these emotions, feel them in our bodies, but more often than not, we choose to ignore them. Why do we do this? Why do we suppress our emotions, thinking they'll just go away if we don't pay attention to them? The truth is, emotions are energy in motion. They need to be expressed, felt, and processed. When we avoid doing this, when we don't confront and release them, they build up inside of us. And over time, that pressure builds. Imagine holding a balloon and blowing air into it. The longer you blow air into the balloon without letting any out, the more pressure it will build. Sooner or later, the balloon will burst, and the same thing happens with your emotions. When you don't process them, they accumulate, and the pressure grows until you eventually explode. But here's the thing. Unlike a balloon, your emotions don't just burst on their own. They remain locked inside, waiting for the right moment to surface, often in a way that takes you by surprise. This buildup of unprocessed emotions creates an inner time bomb, and when it explodes, it affects everything around you. It impacts your relationships, your health, and even your overall well-being. The key to avoiding that explosion is to start recognizing the signs of this pressure building inside you and learning to diffuse it before it's too late. Let's think about it for a moment. What exactly happens when we suppress emotions? Imagine you're walking around with a backpack. Every time something happens that triggers an emotion, anger, frustration, fear, you put it in your backpack. You think, I'll deal with that later. But day after day, you keep adding things to the backpack. The small annoyances, the unresolved issues, the conversations you didn't have, the feelings you never expressed, they all go into the backpack. And at first, it's not so bad, it's manageable. But as time goes on, the weight starts to build. One day, that backpack becomes too heavy. You're carrying more than you can bear, and when a minor inconvenience happens, you snap. That's the emotional time bomb. It's not the small thing that triggered the explosion. It's everything that's been building up over time, tucked away and ignored. The issue with suppressed emotions is that we don't realize just how much they accumulate. It's the accumulation of all those ignored feelings, the things you didn't want to deal with, the uncomfortable emotions you avoided, that create the explosion. And the more you ignore them, the bigger and more dangerous the bomb becomes. So why does this matter? Why is it so important to address emotions as they come up instead of brushing them aside? The answer is simple. Suppressed emotions don't go away. They don't vanish. They stay with you. And over time, they begin to take their toll in different ways. First, there's the emotional toll. When we suppress emotions, we become disconnected from our true selves. We start to numb ourselves to our feelings, convincing ourselves that we're fine even when we're not. This disconnection can lead to feelings of emptiness, confusion, and isolation. And it's not just emotional numbness. It affects how we interact with others. We become reactive, defensive, and closed off. We push people away because we're too afraid to let them see the pain and anger we've been holding inside. Then there's the physical toll. Emotions, especially suppressed ones, are not just mental experiences. They also have a physiological impact. When we bottle up our feelings, we create stress in our bodies. Chronic stress leads to a variety of health problems, from headaches and digestive issues to heart disease and insomnia. The body keeps score of all the emotions we refuse to process, and over time, this internal pressure takes a physical toll. And finally, there's the relational toll. If we don't address our emotions, they inevitably affect the people around us. Unexpressed emotions seep into our interactions. We may overreact in small situations, say things we don't mean, or even avoid confrontation altogether. This leads to misunderstandings, resentment, and disconnection in relationships. People can feel the energy we carry with us, and it's not always positive. The truth is, suppressed emotions affect every aspect of our lives, and when they've been building up for years, the explosion can be catastrophic. Now that we understand the dangers of suppressed emotions, the next question is, how can we defuse this time bomb? How do we stop the buildup before it gets out of control? The first step is awareness. You need to begin recognizing when emotions are arising. Instead of pushing them aside, take a moment to acknowledge them. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And give yourself permission to feel that emotion without judgment or suppression. Next, you need to express your emotions. Find a healthy way to release them. Whether that's through journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or practicing mindfulness, it's essential to let the emotions out instead of keeping them bottled up. The more you express yourself in a healthy way, the less likely those emotions will accumulate and build up inside you. Lastly, you need to release the emotional pressure. This might involve setting boundaries, confronting past wounds, or simply allowing yourself time to grieve. But it's essential to take action. The longer you wait, the more pressure builds, and the bigger the explosion. By processing and releasing your emotions, you defuse the bomb before it detonates. You free yourself from the weight of unaddressed feelings, and you begin to live with greater clarity, peace, and emotional freedom. Now that we've established how suppressed emotions create internal pressure, let's explore the everyday effects of this emotional time bomb. These suppressed feelings aren't just floating around in the background. They actively shape our behavior, our responses, and how we engage with others. Think about your daily interactions. Have you ever snapped at a friend or family member over something trivial? Maybe you've reacted too strongly to a situation that didn't warrant such an intense response. This is often the result of emotions that have been accumulating without being processed. For example, you may find yourself overreacting to minor irritations because your mind is full of unresolved emotions. Stress from work, frustration with relationships, anger at yourself for not meeting your own expectations. The more these feelings are pushed away, the more they accumulate and affect your behavior. It's like walking around with a lid on a boiling pot. Eventually, the pressure will cause it to burst. Another example is how unprocessed grief can subtly influence your mood and behavior, even when you don't realize it. You may be carrying around sadness from a past loss, but instead of allowing yourself to grieve, you suppress it. Over time, that unaddressed grief manifests in feelings of emotional numbness, a lack of motivation, or difficulty connecting with others. This emotional weight can create a barrier between you and the world, causing you to feel isolated and detached. In these cases, the time bomb isn't just waiting for a single dramatic trigger. It's present every day, in the small ways you interact with the world and the people around you. The tension, the irritation, the distance, they are all signs of an emotional backlog that hasn't been dealt with. We've already discussed how suppressed emotions can create an emotional time bomb, but what about the physical toll that this emotional baggage can take on your body? When emotions are repressed, the body holds on to the stress that comes with them. Stress hormones like cortisol build up, and over time, this chronic stress can cause a range of physical issues. These issues can manifest as headaches, digestive problems, muscle tension, or even chronic pain. Have you ever noticed how you feel physically tense when you're stressed or anxious? This is your body's way of responding to emotions that are not being processed. Chronic emotional suppression has been linked to a weakened immune system, higher risk of heart disease, and even conditions like high blood pressure. It's not just that you feel emotionally drained, your body is physically responding to the weight of those emotions. On top of that, repressed emotions can contribute to sleep disorders. Stress and anxiety, when unresolved, can keep your mind racing at night, making it difficult to relax or fall asleep. Over time, lack of sleep compounds the negative effects of emotional suppression, leaving you feeling even more drained, disconnected, and overwhelmed. When you don't process your emotions, you're not only carrying them emotionally, you're carrying them physically too. And the longer you avoid dealing with them, the more damage they can do to both your mind and body. So what's the solution? How do we begin to diffuse the emotional time bomb before it explodes and affects all areas of our lives? The first step is awareness. You need to start paying attention to the emotions you're experiencing. Instead of brushing them aside, take a moment to acknowledge them. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And don't judge yourself for those feelings. Every emotion is valid. Whether it's anger, sadness, frustration, or fear, it's important to recognize it and not push it away. Once you're aware of your emotions, the next step is to express them. This can be through talking, journaling, or finding a creative outlet. Expression is key to releasing the pressure that's building inside. Suppressed emotions only have power over you as long as they remain unexpressed. The moment you start to articulate them, whether through words or actions, you take back control. For instance, if you're feeling angry about something, don't bottle it up. Express that anger in a healthy way. Talk it out with someone you trust, write about it in a journal, or take physical action like going for a run. The goal is to give your emotions the space to exist and move through you. Finally, the most important step is release. Once you've acknowledged and expressed your emotions, it's time to let them go. Holding on to anger, resentment, or fear only continues the cycle. Forgiveness, whether it's towards others or yourself, is a powerful tool in releasing emotional baggage. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or excusing the hurt. It means freeing yourself from the chains of unprocessed emotions. If you've made it this far, I want you to reflect on this. What emotions have you been suppressing? What's been building up inside you that you've been ignoring or avoiding? Now, I encourage you to take action. Start acknowledging your emotions. Don't let them fester inside you. Find a way to express them, whether it's through talking, writing, or other forms of expression. Release the pressure before it builds up and explodes in ways you can't control. If this video resonated with you, please like it to show your support for this important conversation. Comment below and share what emotions you've been holding on to and how you plan to begin releasing them. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. And of course, subscribe to Awaken Your Essence to continue on this journey with us. We'll continue to explore how we can break free from the emotional time bombs in our lives and live with greater clarity, freedom, and authenticity. Remember, the only way to defuse the bomb is to face the emotions within. Don't let them control you. Take control over your emotions and start living your life with intention. Thank you for being here. Let's awaken our essence together.